Alright, it is April 31st, 2015. They just put out the Black Rock Mountain patch, even though they haven't released it quite yet. Supposedly, Warsun Commanders should be fixed now, so I'm excited to try that out. It's also the last day of the season, and we're sitting at rank 1. So, just need 5 wins, and then some, to hit Legend this season with this deck only, with a pretty good win rate. So let's see if we can do it. I also heard that there are some connectivity issues right now with some of the games, so hopefully we won't experience too much of that.
Versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild.
Okay, so our opponent is a druid. Yesterday, we figured out that Fire War Axe is actually pretty good against Zombie Chow. If they have a Zombie Chow, they can shut us down, so we're going to need one of those. Cogmaster for some early pressure. If I get a mech, then it should be backed up pretty well. Otherwise, he feels kind of silly. There we go. So Neutron is probably one of the MVPs of this deck against Druid, because you're able to make it so that they're unable to trade efficiently early on, giving you a lot of potential tempo advantage. Okay, so we see he mulliganed his whole hand, so it's very possible that he missed a lot of preferable drops. And he's taking a while, so we will go check on some things. Okay, so we play Cogmaster. Not really anything to decide between here. Okay, so we have a Neutron this turn, Piloted Shredder, Coin Piloted Shredder next turn. Seems reasonable enough. Alternate plays, we could coin out the Warbot as well, but getting the Shredder out as soon as possible is probably our best line of play. So it's a good thing we have the Execute here against what looks like Ramp Druid. And a swipe on the Cogmaster is probably as good as we could ask for, because he doesn't get to develop any minions. So we could play Cruel Task and Warbot here. But I think Piloted Shredder is a stronger play. I'm not 100% sure. Let's think about what he could play next turn. He could play Sludge Belcher. The Shredder would run the Sludge Belcher. I'd probably play the Cruel Task to finish it off, and then we would have the Annoyotron, and we wouldn't be able to punch all the way through that. If we played Warbot and Taskmaster now, without the coin, we could do the same thing, because we have basically 4 attack on the board. But we'll have the Cruel Task as well to finish out the Slime. I think I will play the Shredder. It's just too much value packed into 4 mana to pass up compared to the Taskmaster Warbot play, even though I'm giving up coin. The reason it's kind of okay for me to give up coin right now, like if I had done the Cruel Task Warbot play, oh god. So this actually isn't the worst thing. If I'm willing to give up a number of cards, let me think about this. So I hit him for 4, or hit him for 2.
What now?
Okay, jeez. I'm really not thrilled about this, but I guess we'll give this a try. I think getting rid of that shade is pretty important, and the minions that I have on board were all pretty weak. Next turn I could execute.
I have no time for games.
And drop Jeeves for 1. I have 2 Jeeves, so that makes this play even better. Turn 7, he could play Ancient of Lore. But that means also it's hard for him to get Jeeves value. If he can dump 2 cards, props to him. But I don't see that being a very easy thing to do. So I'm down in execute. I kill a Boombot, let it hit whatever.
Yes,
Maybe I'll kill my Jeeves. So that's a 50-50 of hitting Jeeves, and then a 50-50 killing Jeeves. That's 25% chance.
What now?
It's actually hard to get Jeeves value with this Acolyte of Pain if I'm able to attack with it. I guess let's just see what we get hit here.
Charge forward! Pain, speak to me. Bring the pain.
Alright, so the fact that we drew a card with Acolyte twice here means that Jeeves wouldn't have gotten any value anyways. Someone asked Razor, how do you think about the Enraged Warrior since Blackrock Mountain came out? I don't really think Enraged Warrior has gotten that much better.
I must safeguard the
Hold on, I'm just going to focus on this game for a few minutes. I mean, I feel like this game is most likely a loss, but let's see what we can do with it. Warsong Commander is silenced. We have no real action plays here. We can't even kill the Keeper. And we can't even play 7 cards. Can't even play 2 cards to get Jeeves value. Alright, we'll just move on with this one. Well, I guess I could have a shot. But this is just a little bit too much to deal with.
well played.
The Explosive Sheep ended up setting me back pretty far. It gave me a way to kill his Shade, which was good, but I also lost my a lot of tempo because of that. So yeah, supposedly they fixed Warsong Commander, but I haven't had a chance to test it yet. Anyways, back to the question about Enraged Warrior. I don't, outside of, I think, Dragon Egg, I don't feel like it got any game-changing cards to make it really, really strong. Okay, so we're up against the same player again.
I must protect the wild.
Victory or
Razor, do you see the Warsong Commander Unstable Grim Patron combo? That was pretty sick. I haven't seen it yet, but I expect it's pretty good. Pretty fun, let's just say. So I'm wondering to myself if we didn't have that happen to us last turn, or if we didn't have the Explosive Sheep happen to us last game, would we have won? Because we still wouldn't have been able to kill the Shade, but let's say we had a 3-2 on the table instead. We still would have had to deal with Sylvanas. Shade would either sit or he would kill the Annoyotron. Maybe last game it would have been better to keep the sheep up.
What to do?
There actually is a reason to not play Annoyotron on turn 2 here, because now he can hero power and get the Divine Shield off on curve. And I could just develop the Warbot instead. If that's the case, then it's almost like I played a 1-3 instead of a 1-2 with Taunt. Because his turn is likely just hero power hit the Annoyotron. But because he could possibly have, what do you call it? Wild Growth. This makes it so that he can only do one or the other. He can either Wild Growth or he can ping off the shield. Okay, so he wraths the Cogmaster, which is actually a pretty good thing. Well, not pretty good thing, but he doesn't develop a minion because of that, and we can continue to develop ours. It's kind of interesting that he's taking so long to make his turns. I don't know what kind of read I can make from that, in terms of taking a really long time to decide what to do with Wrath. Okay, so a common thing about using using Scourgegiant Clanker is you usually want to use up its buff if you're worried about things like silence. So we're gonna kill off the Piloted Treader here, and we'll get rid of the guy that spawns too. He could have Mind Control Techie. I haven't seen that for a long time, and Mind Control Techie might not even be an amazing play. Or rather, it won't like set me back considerably. So we have this Fire Wax, and then we had to ask ourselves, do we want to play around Harrison Jones? If I look at my hand, I feel like all the cards left in my deck cost 4 or less. So I could play the weapon and whatever I get at the same time without losing any, like, without wasting any mana. So I should not play this weapon on curve. The only way this hurts me is if the Acolyte of Pain ends up drawing an extra card next turn, and I have more things I want to play than I have in my hand. Or rather, I have more things I want to play than mana. So let's see. We really want to keep this Annoyotron alive. So we'll Fire War Axe the Lotheb and kill it off. We'll save the Execute for something bigger. And if you notice, this turn, we actually gained 2 armor because we didn't play the Fire War Axe last turn, and we also were able to avoid letting him play Harrison on curve. Or yeah, okay.
I must safeguard the land.
Okay, so unfortunately we don't get a draw from the Acolyte of Pain here. It is possible that we should have held it. But we're in a strong position here. We have the Dr. Boom with the Execute. He could be GH and just completely set us back. In terms of we lose a lot of tempo. But this is a really strong tempo play for us. So let's see if he has a good response to this. The scary thing right now is we're running low on cards. And he silenced one of our card draw cards. So we really only have 3 available draws that would be strong. It's weird. What does he have with 5 mana that would be good in this situation? Alright, there's the BGH. And Zombie Chow. Okay. So we want to trade things in a way that gives us the best chance to kill off everything on the board, which I think means running into the BGH, then running into it again. Hope the bomb hits the Zombie Chow. 3. Nice. And then we dump our hand as best we can, get that 2 cards from Jeeves. And we're right back in this. Now we have board initiative, and he needs to kill off this Jeeves, or it's going to draw me more and more cards. And most likely, if he has a way to remove Jeeves without having board presence, it means that he'll have to spend more mana than I spent to kill Jeeves, or at least the same. Like, he spent 5 mana to kill a 4 mana card. And I have a second Jeeves to follow this up. So we could either execute, but we can dump our whole hand. So if we execute, we'll get a card right back. But we might want to save the execute for something bigger. So not having that 1 card might not be that big of a deal. Well, I know I want to play MechWarrior. I guess I should see what comes out of the Pilated Shredder first, in case it matters. But Mana Wraith, I think, was the one thing I should be careful of. So I wanted to play at least 1 MechWarrior. I feel like I should save the execute. So let's trade here. Wow, even better. Unfortunately, I already played a minion, so I actually lose out on that mana reduction. But I have more mana than I can spend. I got the opposite of Mana Wraith, basically, here. Okay, he spends a Wrath. I suppose he might actually leave Jeeves alive here, because he seems to be able to dump his hand somewhat. Although I think that is very risky for him. Alright, so we play out our hand again. We want to make Jeeves difficult to kill, so we'll trade here instead of sacrificing the Jeeves. We'll still hold on to this execute, but because we feel like if he drops something like an Ancient of War, we want to be able to kill it efficiently. And we still draw, so we draw 2 cards, and now he has a lot of cards that he needs to kill. These are all highly threatening cards. The fact that he has to spend mana while growthing makes it more difficult for him to get Jeeves value this turn. He used both Rats, he used the Swipe, he used the BGH, so he's running out of spell removal. He's even used the Druid of the Claw, so his options are getting pretty limited. Okay, so we're going to continue to hold on to this execute. Does ordering matter here? Yes, it does. We want to play the Frothing Berserker. Kill this off. Face. Play the Hobgoblin, end our turn, draw 2 cards. There's no way that he can actually kill us, but he could have Deathwing. But we still have an answer for this. Someone asked, is MechWarrior back? You could call this MechWarrior. I like to call this more Hobgoblin MechWarrior. I haven't come up with a really good name for it, but you could say that this is a descendant of MechWarrior because it still runs Warsong Commander, Frothing Berserker, Death Spite, and there's still a lot of math involved sometimes. Hey yo, Curios. The Warsong Commander fix, though, as far as... Okay, so... MechWarrior, I don't think will be back because the Warsong Commander fix. MechWarrior actually went out of favor, not because of the Warsong Commander bug, but because the metagame became kind of hostile to it. MechWarrior is a lot more combo-oriented than this deck in terms of trying to get the OTK. It's also a little bit more face-oriented because of how all-in it can be sometimes. Alright. Easy game. I just want to play this Warbot, get it super buffed. So many ways to kill him. Alright, we got our revenge for that previous game. I feel like this is the Druid matchup. Could potentially be a very even matchup. Like, I don't feel as unfavored against Druid as I used to feel unfavored as MechWarrior against Druid. Which is definitely a plus. I felt like the bad matchups with MechWarrior there were much more of them than there are with this deck in this metagame, it feels. The win rates across the board are all above 50%. I think they're slightly inflated because some of the games were while ranking up from low ranks, and some of the games were also because they have no idea what I'm playing. 410 BM. Yeah, I'm not that big on BM, but I could have definitely gone pretty far with it. Part of it was just he was taking so long to play, I wanted to get the game over with. Alright, so he has turn 1 Zombie Chow, which is why I was talking about in one of the previous games that Fire War Axe is actually pretty important. Like, we can't play Cogmaster here because he'll just get gobbled up. So, unfortunately, we need to pass the turn and wait until we can play a bigger minion. He also gets Wild Growth. So far, he has what you would call the Dream Draw. And don't look at that as complaint. Look at that more as just, like, how can we beat the best draw Druid has? Can we even beat that? So I could coin out the Frothing Berserker, and it won't even let me kill the Zombie Chow. Next turn, though, it might let me finish it off in conjunction with Cruel Task, and I can still play the Cogmaster, and then Piloted Shredder next turn. If I don't coin out the Frothing, I basically play nothing this turn. And I can coin out the Shredder next turn. But I can fill out all my drops if I do this, so this is what I will do. Someone says, I just tuned in, it's been quite a while, dude. Thank you. I haven't played that much, but I have been streaming a lot more recently. Alright, so this is something that I kind of anticipated as a possibility, but alright, so we can kill off the Zombie Chow now, but now we have to deal with the Keeper of the Grove, which is just as annoying, if not more. We have Jeeves. He's also getting pretty low on cards, so Jeeves might benefit him just as much as I do. But because of the nature of my hand, I don't think saving the Cogmaster is actually going to do me very much. So I'm going to use this to get whatever little tempo I can, even though he gets killed for free. So I could War Axe and kill off the Keeper, but the Shredder is a better investment onto the board. The next thing is, if I leave the Cruel Taskmaster up and not trade it into something or suicide it into something, the Keeper is likely going to eat it. And then the Keeper has 1 HP, and it'll be overkill. So I think I'm better off actually hitting the Loatheb here. Makes it so I can axe either one of those things, and also that the Loatheb becomes in range of the piloted Shredder. Alright, so I get slightly punished for this decision. But I feel like, alright, I should probably execute the Loatheb here, as I'm starting to get really far behind on tempo. So I think the plan is to run the piloted Shredder in, we'll axe the Sludge Belcher, play Mech Warper, and execute Loatheb. If I don't execute the Loatheb, what options do I have? Doesn't really get any better. Alternately, I could axe the Belcher, execute the Belcher, run this piloted Shredder into the Slime, and he's left with 5-3 and 2-3. I still have my Shredder up. Not much better. Alright, so let's see what we get first. Hopefully no Mana Wraith. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool. Although I don't think I actually benefit that much from it. Like, the mana savings don't actually do anything for me. How do I play the Rogue matchup? It's largely pressure. When I play the Rogue matchup, I play a little bit greedier. It largely depends on beating Flurry. So what you do is, a lot of times you'll skip your 1-drops to be able to combo them with Hobgoblin. Okay, so Harrison Jones actually isn't super bad, because it makes it so that he doesn't get Jeeves value as easily, and this isn't looking good for me. So I gotta kill this Slime, just hero power it down, and then I think I'll wait 1 turn for Jeeves, because the Shredder is a much better investment onto the board. Yeah, Blade Flurry is the key to the matchup, basically, against Rogue. You have to play around Blade Flurry, but you have to pressure them just enough. I always maintained that Rogue is probably one of the worst matchups, even though I have been undefeated against it thus far. Wow, even Wild Growths. So either he knows that I run Jeeves in my deck, or he really wants to get to 10 mana. Perfect. 3 draws out of this. And he's faced with the decision to kill one thing or the other. And I also get Jeeves, so even if he clears Jeeves, I'm actually kind of okay with it. What other reasons would he Wild Growth into 10 mana? Like, it really must mean he has like a 10 mana play. Looks like he top deck into the win. No way to actually stop that. Too bad. So that was the dream draw for Druid, dream opening, and I think if he wasn't able to kill us this turn, we were still very much in it. What that really, I feel like that tells us is that, on average, we have a pretty competitive game against Druid. Like, that would be more on the unfortunate side of variance. Like, he had a great draw, I had an average draw. If we both have average draws, I feel slightly advantaged. And if I have a great draw and he has a not-so-great draw, I feel like it could be a blowout. So far, we've played 4 Druids in a row today, and we're 1-2.
I must protect the wild.
Death Spite is actually a pretty good card in this matchup. To the point where I might actually keep it, especially if he gets Zombie Chow. So he knows what we're playing, so unfortunately I have no surprise factor. I play turn 1 Warbot. Frothing Berserker is also not a terrible card in this matchup. It might be worth keeping. I really could use a 2-drop though, because if I keep Death Spite, I might most likely want to coin it out on turn 3, which makes Frothing Berserker not played on not played on turn 3, which means I should throw that back. But there's no guarantee that I want to Death Spite on turn 3, so I'll just keep it like this. I'll keep the Frothing Berserker. Do I want a Warbot? Does Warbot even do anything for me? He missed Zombie Chow. Turn 2 play. What Warbot will do is will get me some extra damage if I hold on to it. So I might hold on to it for Hobgoblin or MechWarrior next turn. Well, holding out for MechWarrior next turn doesn't really make that big of a deal. So it's really only 1 damage difference right now between playing it now and next turn. I don't think he has any turn 2 plays I care that much about. So I'm actually going to not play the Warbot. And this is one of the things that makes this deck kind of interesting. It's that if I was a traditional aggro deck, there would be no way I would not play the Warbot on curve. So we play the MechWarrior, and he could swipe it, he could Wrath it. But if he doesn't do either of those things, then we can play Hobgoblin double MechWarrior next turn. If he silences it, then I'll probably just Death Spite kill his coin, Death Spite kill his guy, play Hobgoblin Warbot next turn. So we're going to go greedy here, very greedy, because the Warbots by themselves really aren't, you know, fantastic here. All right, so he silences it. No, oh, that is super good for us. So we play Hobgoblin, and now we play double Warbot, and we don't even need to use our coin. Alternately, we could coin Death Spite, keep the MechWarrior alive for maybe another turn. Alright, but this is just too good to pass up. We took a risk, and this is exactly what we wanted. And it pays off handsomely. You know, the patience about not playing the Warbot on turn 1, because we looked at our hand, and we saw a line of play where it could just be bonkers. The biggest weakness here is that he could Mind Control Techie. Alright, so he innervates into a Dr. Boom, and you could say that that's a pretty bonkers play for him. It kind of makes this more close. I like the idea of playing Acolyte here, get even more Hobgoblin value.
Let the pain speak to me.
Battle commencing.
And let's see, what shall we do from here? I feel like we should kill off the Boombots for things like Savage Roar. I think if we attack with the Hobgoblin first, it's less likely, it's not going to kill anything. I mean, it's not going to prevent my Warbot from attacking. Ooh, that's not that great, but this swipe. Keeper. Okay. He silences it, so it's a 1/3. Kills off the
A natural mistake.
Warbot. Okay. So what can we do here? We will most likely Death Spite the Dr. Boom.
What now?
Which means we have no play. I guess we coin out the MechWarrior. He'll attack Hero Power it. 2 life. It's 5 mana. I guess. Don't have many better plays than this right now. No Enrage from this, so I can't kill the Keeper of the Grave here. So it's a pretty even game so far. The Enervate got him back into this game. He's down both Keepers, though. And he missed his last turn's play. So I can get some Jeeves value here, because he's probably holding on to things like combo. So I feel like attacking him this turn, dropping Taskmaster to kill the Keeper, and playing Jeeves is reasonable. I want to see if there's a better play, like maybe setting up my Frothing for a future big turn, because that play that I told you just now doesn't really develop my board very well. I will have a 1-2, a 2-2, and a 1-4. If I play Frothing Berserker, I could get more cards out of Jeeves potentially later on. Alright, we'll go for the Jeeves now. I don't think this is necessarily the right play, but it's still somewhat promising. I get a card, so he's in a position where he feels like, alright, he needs to kill off this Jeeves. And because of that, he's not going to develop his board as well. Okay, that's very unfortunate for us, as he gets a full board clear. I probably should have been more greedy with the Jeeves. I only got one card out of it. If I played the Frothing Berserker, the same thing would have happened. It would have died. But I would have been able to draw probably only one card out of it anyway, so either way it was roughly the same. That's a brave play. Unfortunately, I don't have enough to lethal him with this. Warsong Commander comes a little too late. Yucks. Shucks. So I have, what, 4 plus 3? Or plus 4, that's 8. The way that he held on to his cards in the previous turn means that it's a very strong likelihood he has combo. With the Shade, that's 3 damage. Plus another 2 from Savage Roar, so that's 5. 19. I hear report I'm at 23. So I need to prevent So I need to completely kill the Shredder if he has combo and I want to live. I don't think I can do that, so I think I just have to go for it. Because I think I pretty much lose in anyway. See, the Warsong Commander got me 1 damage there. If I held on to it, I could have charged out another minion next turn. Yep, there's the combo. So I made the correct read, but we weren't able to really do anything with it. So back to rank 2 we go. 1 and 3 against Druid today, so our win rate against it is starting to stagnate a little bit. And I feel like this matches our intuition of how we felt about the Druid matchup initially. Even though we had some good games against it, and even though we started to feel favorable, it might just be on average they can deal with what we have better. I think part of what is starting to lower our win rate as well is that we're double queuing into the same opponent a lot, which means they know what we run. They know how to deal with our threats a little bit better. Because they're not mulliganing assuming Control Warrior, and they know that things like Jeeves and things like Hobgoblin are coming. Another druid, wow. So I will say one thing. I do run I used to run Armorsmith in this deck. Oh, this is actually a really good starting hand. The only thing that could be better is if I have a Fiery War Axe, but I might actually just keep this whole thing. So that last game, we had what we call almost the dream start, right? Actually, maybe I should have thrown back the Warbot. I didn't plan out my hand perfectly here. But we'll actually open aggressive.
Battle detected.
But yeah, we had like what we call a very dreamy start with the Hobgoblin double Warbot, and then he innervated Dr. Boom and pretty much undid all of our dreamy starts. Okay, so he wraps the Warbot, which unfortunately for him is not the right play. Unless he's gearing up to Keeper of the Grove, my Cogmaster later, because I still have another mech, so it doesn't actually lower the damage that's coming in. Or rather, it doesn't lower it as much as it could. I think if he had Innervate Keeper, he would have done it last turn. So we have a lot of tempo going here, because he has been spending mana trying to remove minions, and I've been playing them faster than he can deal with. The Cogmaster is starting to put him on quite a bit of a clock.
I must safeguard the land.
Okay. So it looks like the play is an Neutron Fire War Axe here. We'll kill off the Keeper of the Grove. There might have been an alternate play there. He can't even hero power to put this at 7 attack and BGH because the Divine Shield doesn't actually count as damage. Okay, looks like we're gonna have to run our Frothing Berserker into the Sludge Belcher. And then we can follow up with another Frothing Berserker. I don't feel like I need to drop Jeeves quite yet. Because this, I feel like, develops our board best. I should have played the Frothing Berserker. This is what happens when I get distracted. Alright, I'll go with the Jeeves play then. It curves out better. Someone asked, are there any Black Rut cards I'm excited for? Not really. Not, like, super excited. I'm actually excited for everything combined, and I will say that Emperor Tharisian, the guy that reduces the cost of all your cards by 1 each turn, he is a very exciting card when it comes to combo. Yep. Play the Jeeves. Can't let the opponent know I made a misplay. Honestly, though, I feel like both plays had an equal amount of merit. But the Frothing Berserker play was probably a little bit stronger. I really want to play the Frothing Berserker, but playing the Shredder makes me curve out better. So, if you look at my position this turn, if this Jeeves was a Frothing Berserker instead, he would be huge. He'd probably be dead right now. And I wasn't able to get Jeeves value this turn, so, you know, Jeeves actually has just been sitting around as a 1/4 body that drew me 2 cards the previous turn.
I must safeguard the land.
I have a second Jeeves, and he's actually getting close. Let's see, if I run the Jeeves and execute, I'm left with 6 left. I could play another Jeeves, or I could play Frothing Berserker. I guess there's no way I can kill the Druid of the Claw without using Execute here. I could even keep the Jeeves alive. Sacrifice the Shredder. So I can get those cards. Seems counterintuitive, but I'm really greedy. Alright, we'll play the Frothing Berserker first, obviously. This time. We'll do it right. Because we have the second Jeeves in play. No, I guess it is better to keep on the pressure. Yeah, alright, greed. Greed, greed, greed. So I've made 2 incredibly greedy plays instead of more aggressive plays. I've gone for Jeeves over Frothing the first time because I made a misplay.
I got this.
Boom. Guess it didn't matter. But yeah, even if I don't hit Legend today, damn, this deck is fun. So if we win one more against Druid, we'll be 50-50 for today. I remember playing against this guy before, but I can't remember what he was playing. I want to say that he was playing Freeze Mage. But I don't know. Alright, let's assume that he's MechWarrior. Mech Mage. The key to Mech Mage is aggressive mulliganing into early drops. So anything less than a 2-drop is probably too slow. You want things like Fiery War Axe. And, alright, Zombie Chow signifies not Mech Mage. We may actually hold on to this Mech Warper. Maybe. Because he can kill it for free, but it costs him tempo. So I wouldn't say it's completely free. If we hold on to the Mech Warper, what we're really counting on is a weapon draw. Next turn, only one weapon draw is relevant, is Fiery War Axe. And the following turn would be Death Spite. I play Mech Warper, he attacks, he hero powers next turn, he kills the Mech Warper. I respond by dropping Frothing Berserker. How does he respond? He may just kill the Frothing Berserker. I guess I could just work my way to Jeeves. Try to get Jeeves value. So because I have Jeeves, and because for him to kill the Mech Warper, he's not spending cards, I'm going to try to recover the loss of a card here with Jeeves later. So we play Frothing here, because he can't just attack hero power it down as opposed to Warsong Commander. Could this be a Fireball? Okay. I have two main plays here. Warsong, Cogmaster, or Piloted Shredder. If I play the Piloted Shredder, it puts him in a position where he wants the hero power again, possibly. It also puts a mech in play, so that I can Warsong Commander Cogmaster next turn. I like the Piloted Shredder play, because even if he kills it, I still get a minion in play, so he'll have to spend more resources, more mana, to kill what spawns to clear my board. Means he likely won't bother. Okay, we have a good Warsong play here, and Warsong Commander is fixed, right? So we could actually charge out something out of the Shredder. But anyways, let's see what it is first. We play the Warsong Commander. Alright, Mirror Entity, so we have to kill his Warsong Commander. And we could either go for the leave the Piloted Shredder alive and then kill the other stuff.
Battle detected.
I think we do want to kill the Zombie Chow like this for sure. Alright, the question is, how do we want to do this? I guess we could go for the greedier play, because mass removal is still really far away. So we'll play the Cogmaster and... Actually, it's not greedy at all, because I lose the Cogmaster either way. So we don't actually get use out of Warsong this turn in that way. I guess the thing is, something could have spawned out of the Piloted Shredder. Oh, that's a good draw.
I'll show them.
That's a card. I could go for Jeeves for 1. Although Screwjank seems a lot better. Because I can, if he has a mirror entity here,
Defensive systems online.
I can give him a Jeeves next turn.
Hey, give me that for the well song.
Battle commencing.
Like, Jeeves for 1 isn't worth developing my board not as much. The Screwjank just provided a lot of value in terms of onto the board. Okay, Frostbolt. Hobgoblin. That is a perfect draw. Alright, we'll give him a Hobgoblin if it's a mirror entity. Play Jeeves. Charges out of Jeeves. We obviously don't want to give him a Hobgoblin here. But we could also make this really difficult for him. But no, I don't want him to be able to kill any of my valuable Hobgoblin or Warsong Commander minions here, so we'll do the trade. He's already used a Fireball, he's already used a Frostbolt, so he's doesn't have as many options for removing guys on a clear board.
I have no time for games.
The Sylvanas is largely irrelevant here. I can just play a Nootron and ignore it. He also, Nootron gets charged, Acolyte Pen gets charged. I probably didn't even need to play the Acolyte. Could have just gone for Jeeves instead. Draw a card. So what is his best play here? Probably Blizzard, I think, is only saving grace. Rest in peace, Hobgoblin. You have served me well. You've buffed 3 minions.
Blade.
Priestess of Elune, actually relevant, but he's still dead.
You win.
Alright, we're back to rank 1. Nice. So you noticed how I played the MechWarrior into a situation where the MechWarrior would essentially be killed for free in terms of cards, but not killed in terms of free for tempo. And what happened was I was able to get my cards back with Jeeves later in the game, while slowing down his tempo so he wasn't able to get Jeeves' value easily. Oh, this guy was playing Druid earlier. I guess wasn't working out too well for him. I think he did beat me twice, so maybe he just got bored of it. So Cruel Task is pretty useful against Face Hunter, not so much useful against mid-range. I don't know what he's playing, but my guess is if he was playing Druid before and got tired of playing Druid and switched to Hunter, he swatched to Face. And I was correct. We'll play the Warbot here. We're not going to go for Hobgoblin value. Against Face Hunter, you want to establish board dominance as quickly as possible. Oh, he is... Okay. So like here, I think... I have a number of plays here. If I go for the Taskmaster play, he'll just clear this. But that means less damage against my face, and he takes 8 damage for that. If I play the Annoyotron, then I miss out on some potential Hobgoblin value, but it also saves my Cruel Task for like a Wolf Rider or something later. Alright, what can he play next turn that I'm most concerned about? I guess Animal Companion, right? I believe Annoyotron deals with Animal Companion slightly better, because he can't just use the weapon to clear my board.
Put this apple on your head. I feel itchy.
Alright, so Jeeves is not getting played this game. I actually would kind of rather play Taskmaster and kill the Leper Gnome and then trade into the Knife Juggler instead of using the weapon. Well, I guess what's the difference, right? It's either I kill something with a weapon or I have an extra 2/2 in play. Because the taunt, I think, is worth a lot more. I think I'm gonna save the weapon, although there aren't like a lot of things that I can weapon.
Battle commencing.
I think I value the taunt a little bit more than I value anything else, and there are very few taunts in this deck. Alright, on curve Shredder is great. Next turn I can Hobgoblin and War Axe. Arcane Golem is actually really good for me. Alright, so I like the idea of playing Hobgoblin plus Frothing Berserker this turn. Buff the Frothing to 4 attack. Hit him for 4, that puts him at 20. He's gonna have to respond to my threats. This Jeeves is gonna sit in my hand until I have maybe a 1 or 2 turn kill. Which means, even if he gets value out of Jeeves, he'll likely die next turn, or rather, like, that's the situation I want to put him in. Wow, he is just really going for it. I can punish him, I think. Not quite kill him, but I can punish him. So, let's see that piloted Shredder Warsong Commander fix. Let's see. Let's make it impossible for him to kill me. Next turn.
Can I help you, sir?
So, we're gonna be killing off some of these guys. How much damage is this? Not quite lethal. I'm gonna just kill everything because I only lose 1 damage because the Frothing Berserker gets buffed here. Alright, clear my board or kill me. Nope, not enough.
Let me get that.
And so, like I said, he gets Jeeves value, but he also is dead. Alright, finish him.
Defensive systems online.
Alright, making some progress now. So somebody asked, hi, just joined, what is fixed? In the past, Warsong Commander wouldn't give charge to things that are summoned from death rattles, like a piloted Shredder. So, if you saw, I had a Warsong Commander in play, and my piloted Shredder died and summoned a minion, and it got charge. Before it's fixed, he wouldn't get charge. Yeah, biggest Jeeves you've ever seen, right? Good stuff. Alright, Cogmaster is potentially good, but it hinges a lot on me drawing into mechs or weapons. Just, I need to protect this. Because it feels really silly if I play Cogmaster, and then like he plays like a Mech Warper, and I have no mech, so he just dies. But I have a mech, so this is good. It's actually pretty consistent in terms of the number of draws I can get to protect or make Cogmaster good. I have Warbot, Fire War Axe, Annoyotron, Cruel Task to a lesser extent, Mech Warper as well. Alright, so we're playing against a what might be considered long extinct deck of Mech Mage. I have not seen Mech Mage in the longest time. This is a potentially really strong matchup for us. If we get any semblance of board control, we can usually take over the game. Alright, so the mana savings doesn't actually do anything for us here for the Mech Warper. But we gotta kill the Snow Trigger so that he can't coin out a Blast Mage. For style points, maybe I should have played Warbot first, then the Mech Warper, so I don't have any floating mana. Doesn't matter though, right?
Something needs tinkering?
Tinkertown for nothing? Alright. So clearing this Tinkertown would have been a problem had I not drawn this Death Spite. But I still would have been able to clear the board, and if I didn't draw Death Spite, I would have drawn a minion that I could have played instead. Unless it's my second execute. So even if I didn't draw this Death Spite, we would be kind of okay still.
Something needs tinkering?
Alright, so we'll just put on the hurt here. We clear the board. Simple attack. Play our Shredder. All face. Easy peasy. Very straightforward game, this one. Not a lot of thinking needed. He's playing all of the cards that you see in Mech Mage. So I don't expect to see anything crazy like a Flame Strike. I mean, maybe he decided to put a Flame Strike in his own build of Mech Mage, but for the most part, it's not a card I'm concerned about at all. So one thing about positioning with these piloted shredders is I played very nonchalantly and just threw it on the board. There are a few cards that can spawn where positioning matters. So this guy should actually be placed in the middle. Ooh. Loraka Cho actually isn't bad for me because he has a lot of spare parts and he needs spells to come back into this game. He just gives up. Good game. So we got 3 more to go. So had a little trouble with the druids early on, but now we're starting to put together a win streak. Like, a lot of you might look at this deck and you see, oh, you know, it's an aggressive warrior, and you might think it's like an aggro warrior, similar to a lot of other aggro decks for other classes. But the thing about this deck is it's more pressure and tempo deck than what I might call an aggro deck, because a lot of the cards that I play early on actually don't do a lot of damage because of Hobgoblin. I play a lot of weak minions. So I'm definitely keeping the MechWarrior. I'm thinking about whether I should keep the Death Spite. It might be a little bit too slow. I have a lot of early drops. I should be very aggressive with them. A very aggressive mulliganing for them. Alright. We have a couple good plays here. So, turn 1 Cogmaster is actually quite strong against this. We can coin out MechWarrior here. Drop the Warbot. He'll play a MechWarrior or a Snowchugger, and he'll kill the MechWarrior, most likely. Then I play Cruel Task, buffing the Warbot, killing his guy, and starting to put me ahead on tempo. Alternately, he could kill the Warbot instead. But that's not something I can control. Sorry, someone asked about Control Paladin. Rag as a replacement for Tyrion. I think he could work. I think... Oh, does he not have a mech? I mean, the point of Tyrion is you want a high threat card that can help you take over games. The thing about Tyrion, though, is that he is also a taunt. So sometimes I feel like
Battle commencing.
if you want to replace him, you want to replace him with some sort of defensive card. A defensive threatening card. But yeah, he's like very hard to replace. There are no cards that are like strictly equivalent to it. So we need to kill this spider tank because of the threat of Blast Mage. So I think I will play the Accolade of Pain here, and the next turn we can Commander plus Cogmaster or Death Spite.
Battle commencing.
It's really important to knive the mechs as often as you can. The Shredder is a bit of a problem.
What now?
I feel like I need to kill the Shredder. I have multiple ways to do it. Makes me kind of wish I played the Warsong Commander instead last turn. But I Death Spite it, and then I think about what can spawn. If it's a 2/3, I lose the Mech Warper, but I draw an extra card. If it's like a 4/4 or something, that's super bad. If I Warsong Commander plus Cogmaster, it's roughly the same, except I get a Warsong Commander in play. I'm gonna set it the Death Spite. I think it's better because then I could potentially get another drop on the Acolyte later. All right, so I gotta kill this off. And then next turn, I can kill a minion, draw some cards. If he uses a spell to kill the Acolyte, that's fine. He gets set really far back on tempo.
What to do? What to do? Check it.
Something needs tinkering?
Alright, so we attack the Tinker Town. We can kill off the Snow Chugger too. I think we want to go for the most tempo efficient play here. So I like the idea of attacking the Tinker Town, then running the Acolyte and the Anoyotron into the Snow Chugger. It doesn't get frozen, so I can still use it next turn. He needs to kill off the Warsong Commander, so he's going to use a spell. I guess see what we draw first. Second Warsong Commander. So I could also go for Cogmaster instead to kill it. But because I have a Jeeves in play, I feel like
Bring the pain.
I want to be as mana efficient as possible. Alright. We're foregoing some value with the Hobgoblin here, but we still get pretty good value out of it next turn. So if the Warsong Commander lives, I'm about to show you another thing that I wouldn't be able to do before the bug.
I am ready.
Excellent. Okay, so before, I would play Hobgoblin, and because I have a mech in play, this guy is a 3/2. And because of the Hobgoblin bluff, he is a 5/4.
I can fix anything.
No! Warsong Commander bug not completely fixed. Okay. So, plan B. Maybe we sacrifice a mech so that we get a 3/4. So we can charge with a 3/4. Alright, I guess I'll do that. So we get rid of the mech, so this time we can get charge on this guy. We sacrifice the Warsong here. And we clear off the board. I guess he's going to run that guy in anyways, but I want to deny the mechs for Blast Mage again. I'm not Legend yet. So, that interaction might mean that
Something needs tinkering?
either Warsong Commander is still bugged, or the way that it's prioritized, it's not completely... Or the way it's prioritized, it's just not meant to be. Alright, so I could get Jeeves value now, but I get a much weaker clear. So I'll just clear and get Jeeves value later. So Warsong Commander has been fixed for some cases. Again, I don't know if this is something that was meant to be. Oh god. There's actually a chance that I don't have lethal because of the boom bots. Well, let's just YOLO it.
Can I help you, sir? Yes, sir.
YOLO! Boom. Easy game. Easy life. Alright, so we've been stomping the mech mages today. This deck is, like I said, I feel like it has a really good matchup against mech mage. Unfortunately, there are a lot fewer mech mages these days. Dear Nadia. I don't know what she plays. But I'm keeping Fiery War Axe. Mech Warper. I don't know if I'm going to keep Cruel Task. Could mulligan more aggressively. Yeah, I should mulligan more aggressively. Alright, so she kept 2 cards. Coin into Haunted Creeper. Okay. So it makes me wish I had the Cruel Task here. I have no mech, so playing Mech Warper here, even if it dies, it's kind of okay. I'm like Abusive Sergeant would be kind of annoying. But if the alternate play is to play nothing or just play the War Axe, I think I still rather play the Mech Warper. If anything, it might make her respond by killing its Mech Warper because you'll view it as a really big threat. A lot of times when you coin out Haunted Creeper as Zoo, usually it's because you want to follow up with a Knife Juggler behind it. If that's the case, I think my best play here is to play the Acolyte of Pain instead of the Hobgoblin. That way, if there are juggles, there are chances for it to hit the Acolyte of Pain and she'll get punished for that. Also, it's really nice we have this Death Spite sitting in our pocket right now, so that even after the Haunted Creepers die, we have a really, really nice clear. Bok Troy Badger says, oh, you're streaming. Yes, I'm streaming. Decisions. Mech Warper feels like a bigger threat to her. Okay.
Why do you call?
So, Death Spite, certainly. And then I'll probably attack the Dire Wolf so that I can attack whatever I want next turn. Oh, good. Now we can get Hobgoblin plus Onoyotron next turn. So Defender of Argus is probably her best play here. It'll keep 1 minion alive, as opposed to having her whole board wiped. What's the next best play? Maybe a Taunt and something else. Or maybe an Egg. I'm not sure.
My shield for
Alright, Defender. That's about the best play that she can make as far as preserving board state. So we attack the Wolf. We probably play Hobgoblin plus Onoyotron. Then both of the guys left can't trade well with a Noyotron. She needs a silence. To be able to deal with my board effectively. Alternately, I could double execute, but I think Hobgoblin and Noyotron is legit enough. So I'm getting a little bit low, but I'm starting to turn this game in my favor. So as long as she doesn't have silence here, I don't see a very, very efficient clear here for her. So I think the play here is Hobgoblin into Spectral Spider, a Noyotron into Lotheb, and attack the Lotheb. Play War Song, play Fiery War Axe. And now I have both Hobgoblin and War Song Commander in play. As Zoo, there aren't a lot of ways to deal with this. What she can have is Silence, but she didn't have it last turn, and also Implosion. Hold on. Phone.
Call from private caller.
Oh wow, there is silence. Alright, let's what can we do? We can kill the piloted shredder, play Dr. Boom, charge some boom bots out. How you guys like the sound of that? Charging boom bots? Warsong Commander bug fixed? Confirmed? Yeah, charging boom bots. Although I didn't, so I walked away and I didn't realize that I had gotten this low. So I probably shouldn't have attacked that shredder. I could actually die to Doomguard and something else.
Put this apple on your head.
Alright, so I want to hero power this turn. Bot. We play Screwjank, but on what? We probably play it on the Noyotron.
Defensive systems online.
We hero power, because that's really important. Kill the Knife Juggler. Buff the Warbot. Kill off this guy. We can't afford to take any more points of damage. We're not out of the woods yet. 8 life is just enough for burst. And we also got kind of lucky with that implosion. Wow, really unlucky with the implosions there. But we got it. Bagged and tagged. Gotta love those fixes with the Warsong Commander. Definitely adding a few points in our favor in terms of making matchups good. So, one more, and we got Legend. So, boss time. But yeah, to rewind a little bit, that turn when I had the Dr. Boom and the Fiery War Axe with the charging boombots, I attacked the Shredder, and I probably should have run the boombots into the Shredder instead of taking 4 to the face, just to make sure that I don't die to any sort of crazy burst combos.
For Doomhammer. Victory!
Okay, boss fight. Against Shaman, we want the really early drops. It helps us totem stunt, helps us establish tempo. This is great. Cogmaster in a Nootron is one of the best starts. What happens is we play Cogmaster turn 1. He's forced to use a Rockbiter on it or something. Or I start establishing extremely good tempo. His next best response is Zombie Chow, in which I can just play the Nootron and trade if I wanted to. This Cruel Task gives us some flexibility here. Wow, so a lot of people are hopping over from Nadia's stream. They said, what kind of deck is this, and did you create it? Yes, I did. This is a homebrew deck that I have been developing all of this month. I think I was watching some games, and I saw somebody play Hobgoblin MechWarrior, and I have tried it before, but it made me think, alright, I'm going to give this another try. I can't really do anything with this, but I gotta pop the shield. So we're playing against Mech Shaman, which should be a good matchup for us, because they don't run Lightning Storm.
I can fix anything. I can fix anything.
Not really sure if that was the correct play for him. Anyways, we attack in, we trade, we axe. I think it's pretty straightforward.
I'll fix you. I'll fix you.
I'm really trying to think if there's any possible way there's a better play here. Because if we axe one, he can kill the Anoyotron, and then I can just kill it with Cruel Task next turn. And it... Nah, I guess I'll do this. So we don't have the best plays next turn, but we do have board advantage and we do have a weapon. Okay, Whirling Zap-O-Matic. I think we can deal with this fairly efficiently. So we attack into the Whirling Zap, we play Cruel Task on it, killing that. We axe the Mech Warper. Is there any other way we can do this? We could double Cruel Task, killing the Whirling Zap-O-Matic, and then just axe the Mech Warper. I kind of like the double Cruel Task play better, because next turn I can just Jeeves and Warbot, and then make this a very interesting game. Now, there's no reason for me to play Jeeves if he starts top decking. But I don't think he can dump his hand nearly as quickly as us. Playing the Frothing here is actually probably the stronger play, because it develops the board better. But the Mech Mage had already played a lot of his more expensive cards. I don't really see him getting really, really good Jeeves value. But like I said, we're going to make this game very interesting now, because he could potentially draw a lot of cards from this too. I just feel like I have enough tempo that I can outpace him in this kind of game. Like, look at my board, look at his. Even if he does manage to get a draw here and there, I can flood the board better than he can, I presume. Fell Reaver. Alright. Warsun Commander's really, really good here. Well, not as good as it could be. But I could just flat out kill the Fell Reaver. Or I could, like I said, I could go off to the races. We play Warsong Commander, we play Frothing Berserker, we kill off the piloted Shredder. I guess it largely depends on what comes out of the what comes out of the piloted Shredder.
No problem.
Love my new recipe.
No problem. I must choose.
Alright, we will go face. My reasoning for this is I'm kind of okay with the Warsong Commander dying here. If the Shredder... I mean, if the Fel Reaver stays alive for this turn, it's not actually that big of a deal. Shoot, that actually is a big deal. But we actually might be able to fatigue him here.
Battle detected.
Because we have gotten rid of almost all the burst cards in his deck. In fact, I might not even trade. If leaving 14 damage on the board, too ambitious. Let's see. He lost his Alakir, both Rockbiters. He probably has Flame Tongue. No, gonna hero power, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it up. Talk about a very interesting final game, if this is the win. Like, can he kill me from 29 life with those two guys on board? He needs, like, a Wind Fury buff. Like, if he gets Enhance-O-Matic, that would be pretty sick. But he needs to find a way to kill off his Fel Reaver, which means the Fel Reaver is actually more likely to trade than anything else. Oh, is that so? Alright, boys, this is legend.
I'm out of cards.
Battle commencing. Battle commencing.
Yes, sir. Let me get back.
Easy peasy. Fatigue win. Alright, we're legend. We have done it.